Now to Alexis Daesh in New York, where there's been a deterioration in the number of people. I mean, it's just horrible what's going on in the US. Lexi, the US has reached a historic high in unemployment. Just how many people have lost their jobs?
Carl, the figures today are staggering. We now know that 6.6 million Americans across the country have filed for unemployment in just the last week. That is double the number on the previous week, meaning that now almost 10 million Americans have lost their jobs in the space of 2 weeks. 10 million. That is a record high, more than the total number of job losses over the Great Recession in the late 2000s. So the economic blow still very much playing out across the country right now. And the other very dire aspect to all of this is, of course, the health system, hospitals and medical supplies. Federal officials have now said that the national stockpile of protective gear, like your gowns, your masks, your gloves, that is almost empty. And that has created this really nasty situation whereby all of the states are essentially competing with each other to try and get their hands on this gear. I heard it described the other day as like bidding for eBay. And then you've got the ventilator issues. So they are obviously the life-saving equipment in this pandemic. And this being the epicentre, the governor today said that they only have enough ventilators in New York State for another 6 days from now. Here he is.
We need what we need. If a person comes in and needs a ventilator and you don't have a ventilator, the person dies. That's the blunt equation here.
And Carl, just to give you an idea of how those numbers translate to life on the streets in New York, well, this is 2nd Avenue. This is just one of the many long stretches where there is bars and restaurants and shops and everything. And I've been walking around here to get fresh air. They are all shut. And then you think about all those Americans who are not at work, not earning any money. It is a very sad situation and, quite frankly, a depressing situation here in New York at the moment.
And they're all so close to each other, aren't they? Lexi, thank you. Come back to you a little later. Turning to Europe now, where cases continue to rise. A massive problem. Ben Avery is in London. Ben, the devastation shows no sign of letting up at all.
No, not at this stage, Carl. The death rate just keeps going up and up and up in many countries, including here in the UK. Another terrible day here. 569 deaths in the last 24 hours. Takes the total tally now to 2,921. Unfortunately, a similar story in Spain again today as well. The worst 24 hours there yet. 950 people lost their lives. The total tally now past 10,000 in Spain, and officials now believe they're seeing the peak of the pandemic in that country. Across Europe now, we've now seen more than 30,000 deaths. That was confirmed by the World Health Organization earlier on today. It also spoke a bit about the ages of those people, and the spokesperson said that it seems like the majority of those people are older people. Take a listen.
We know that over 95% of these deaths occurred in those older than 60 years. More than 50% of all deaths were aged 80 years or older.
Now, he did go on to deliver a more positive piece of news. He said there's been evidence of some people, very old people, 100 years and older, going into hospital with COVID-19, eventually coming out and making a full recovery. So perhaps one small piece of hope in what's been a terrible time here in Europe, Carl.